Toyota invited me down to Atlanta. I got a chance to check out the car. Unfortunately, I couldn't really test drive it because that was the exact same car that was going straight from there to the Atlanta Auto Show. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay for the auto show, but I was able to get a little bit of footage for you guys so you guys can check out the car. So I'm essentially going to talk about the pros and the cons of the car, what I liked, what I didn't, as I always do. So without further ado, let's get to it. So the first thing that I'm a really big fan of is the overall look of the car. What Toyota was pretty successful at is that they have the sleekness of the 90s models of the Toyota Supra, but they still have some aggressive styling and a more sporty look to it. So they essentially modernized a 90s look and made it look like a car that would fit in pretty well in today's society, if you will. So I mean, overall, you still have the sleekness, so you're not going to be getting anything mind-blowing, but they do a good job at making sure that the basics look good. And so especially for a sporty car, you want to be able to focus on the driving, so you really don't want too many gadgets, too many buttons, and just too many things that are distracting you from the drive. And I feel like Toyota have a pretty good idea of how to make that happen. So for the car, you're getting around low to mid 300s as far as horsepower. So that's a pretty powerful car. That's more powerful than the older models from the 90s. So I feel like just starting off, before you even have modifications added onto the car, you have something good to start off with. Some people may add on just a few options from the Toyota website if you're building your car that way, or you could probably even drive it stock, or you can add on your own modifications after purchasing the vehicle. So there's so many options you can add on, and I feel like that's a pretty good, it's good to have options in general. And then last but not least, I sort of touched upon it a little bit in the first pro, is the comfort. So mainly with the interior. While you're able to focus mainly on the driving, you also have very comfortable seating, and I feel like Toyota are probably the best at doing that. So when it comes to driving long distances, it's ideally a car that you'd be able to either put on a racetrack and race it around, especially since it's rear-wheel drive, that's an added factor. Or you could also daily drive it and drive from one town to another without your back being hurt or you being in pain once you get out. So I feel like that's the third pro, and those are really the top three things I like about the car. There are a few little things here and there, but as far as the bigger ones, those are the main three. So over to the cons. So this has been a big one for me. The fact that the car isn't stick shift is, I don't know, I feel like it sort of takes away from the experience, mainly because of the fact that the older one, of course I'm going to always compare them, but the older one had the option for both automatic and stick. And of course, seeing as the car was popularized in the Fast and Furious franchise, if you will, the fact that it's not stick shift sort of takes away from that feeling of you driving like a stick shift race car like you would do in the 90s. However, I can understand the reasoning behind it, mainly because they have paddle shifters which are able to shift faster than your stick shift would. So if you're trying to keep time while driving around a racetrack, I feel like paddle shifters would be possibly a better choice. But I feel like sometimes it's just nice to have an extra option of manual if you're not going to be taking it around the racetrack and you just want to drive around the city and have a more engaged feel with the vehicle. So I'm still trying to figure out how the modifications are going to work. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to be, how that sort of plays out, like what modifications are going to be available for the car. I'm guessing there should be a decent amount, and by modifications I mean to the engine, mainly because it's a newer car, and I feel like for newer cars it's so much harder for you to personally work on it. So that's what I'm getting at. I mean, it would be easy if you were to take it to a shop, but I feel like the appeal of the Supra is where you can make it your own and you can add on whatever modifications you want personally without having to pay X amount of $1,000 to take it to a shop and have them do it. Because I mean, of course it's supposed to be your car, you work on it, then you track it, or you just daily drive it, whatever you please. So I mean, I'm still not sure how that's going to work out. And another issue, I guess tied to number 2, is the high price. So for the power, you're getting low to mid 300s in horsepower, and you're going to be starting off paying roughly $50,000. And then of course, with all the options, you're going to be paying more and more money. I feel like you could definitely get cheaper cars for that you could get cheaper cars with equal or more horsepower. And so I don't see why you would want to get a Supra if you could do something cheaper with better horsepower. I mean, then again, it could be a nostalgia reason, and I feel like that's probably or possibly why a lot of people want to buy a Supra. But I'm still not quite seeing how that fits in. And so, of course, this is mainly the question everyone has wanted to know. I have to say it's not really built for tall people. So I'm 6'6", roughly 250 pounds, and I will say I struggled getting in and out of the car. I mean, of course, it's really low. My current daily driver is also a pretty low car. But I mean, as far as legroom, it was a bit of a struggle. As far as headroom as well, as a bit of a struggle just getting in and out of it. Of course, I couldn't really touch too many things because, as I mentioned earlier, that car was going right from the Toyota event straight to the Atlanta Auto Show. But I would say that it's not very conducive if you're a tall person, so your best bet would be to look somewhere else. But overall, I still have to say I like the car. The fact that I wouldn't really fit in it very well, it kind of deters me. I mean, of course, hypothetically, if I were looking at that car to purchase. But of course, if you're, I would assume, 6 foot and shorter, I mean, it'd be the ideal car for you. Probably even like 6'2" and shorter. But hey, I guess it is how it is. I can't really say that it's that much of an issue. I feel like there are a lot of cars that are in the same price range, have the same amount of power that I'd fit into just fine. So I can't really say it's that much of a loss. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I tried to make it very straight to the point and concise. If you enjoyed it, like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends and family, and I will catch you guys later.